Hi everyone, welcome to Cancer Healing Journey Talks. Myself Sonali Modi from Community Outreach Team of ZenOnco.io and Love Heals Cancer. We guide cancer patients on adopting an integrative oncology treatment. We help them find the balance between medical treatment and complementary treatment therapies. We help patients with our team of oncologists, lab experts, nutritionists, and other healthcare professionals so that we can improve the treatment outcome for patients. We also help in connecting patients with other cancer warriors who have gone through this journey to address their queries. And we also share inspirational journeys to motivate cancer warriors who are going through this journey currently. So firstly, I would like to introduce you to today's speaker, Miss Aphrodite. She's a cancer warrior. I'm happy that you're here with us today to share your story. So over to you, ma'am. Please start with the introduction.
My name is Aphrodite. I'm a 16-year breast cancer survivor. And I'm here to talk about my story of how I survived breast cancer.
Yeah. So what made you go for the diagnosis and what were the initial symptoms?
Okay, so when I went for the initial diagnosis, I had found something in my left breast at the time, and I didn't know what it was. It was in the shape of a marble. But I didn't go originally to the doctor. I kind of held off going because I didn't think there was anything serious. But then I kept going back to it. And eventually I took myself to the breast specialist, and she said to me, we have to do some tests to see if it's cancerous or not. So they did the test, they did the scans and the x-rays, and they found out that I had a 9-centimeter tumor growing in my left breast and that it was cancer, breast cancer. So I had a malignant tumor. And they said that you need to take care of it right away because if you don't, you will die, basically. So she gave me a death sentence at that point. Now, the signs and the symptoms, well, for me, again, I do my self-breast examinations, which I think all women should do. And it doesn't matter what age, because at the time I was 35, and that's pretty young, right?
Yeah.
So all you have to do is go in the mirror and just do your actual self-examination of your breast. If you find something and it wasn't there before, don't do like what I did and take your time and not go in right away. Go in right away because it's a matter of life or death. You have to say to yourself, it could be something, and then it could not be something. For me, I didn't know that it was going to be a tumor. I didn't think anything of it. I just let it go. If I would have gone in earlier, and if I hadn't had cancer, my breast would have been saved. But unfortunately, I can't go back. So I went in and I did what I had to do. And as you can see, what do you call it? I went in and actually I had no reaction when she told me you have breast cancer. No reaction whatsoever. I just knew it was on my doing it. I took a long time going in. But people have to be aware. And it's not, and let me just, women are not the only ones who get breast cancer. Men get breast cancer too. Think about it. Men get breast cancer, but because everyone thinks that it's just for the breasts, it happens to men. A small percentage of men happens in the nipples. So that's what I wanted to let everybody know. Everybody seems to think that breast cancer is just for females. It's also for males too. But you have to know the signs and symptoms. If, again, you see something, you go to the doctor right away. Have peace of mind. Don't play Russian roulette with your life. Don't be like me and wait till the last minute, because now I sometimes regret it. I go back and think, why didn't I take myself in earlier? My breast would have been saved. But what's done is done. I did what I did. Yeah. So I'm alive and well, a walking miracle.
Yeah. Well said that self-examination is very important because it's very important and it's very crucial as well because it will means if you do self-examination 3 times a week, that will basically serve as prevention is better than cure.
Right.
Yeah. So can you share that how this news was disclosed to you and your family?
So then we had gone to an oncologist and he had taken more tests and he found, well, see now, the initial diagnosis when they originally said to me was, you have advanced stage 3 metastatic breast cancer. Now, metastatic means that it goes to another part of the body. So at the time they thought that it had gone into my lungs. So then I had to do the 6 months of aggressive chemotherapy followed by 6 weeks of radiation, because at the time they weren't sure what the spots in the lungs were. They thought it was cancerous. So I went through my round of aggressive chemotherapy. And I'll tell you, I would not wish this on my worst enemy. Every side effect that I had from chemotherapy, I got. And I can tell you just the basics that people should be aware of, but you shouldn't be afraid. Loss of sense, loss of taste. So when you try to eat food, you're not going to taste it. No taste, no smell. The losing of the hair, your hairs, I had at the second chemotherapy treatment, all of my hair fell out. And I thought to myself, okay, that doesn't bother me. I knew that was going to happen. But the one thing I did not like, when you're 35 years old, I felt like a 95-year-old woman in a 35-year-old body. I was so tired. And I had to have people help me around. The drugs that they used on me were so powerful, but they had said to me, think of it this way. These drugs that are being put into your body are the good poisons that are taking away the cancer cells. That's what they told me. But at some point, my quality of life at the age of 35 just changed dramatically. I said to myself many times I wanted to give up. I can't go through the pain, because many times I landed in the hospital twice. One of the drugs backfired. It was supposed to help me, but it did the reverse. So I ended up in the hospital twice. I almost had a kidney attack. That was not pleasant. I mean, I went through a series of so many different obstacles, but I got through it. And you know how I got through it? Two people. My late mother, who pushed me to continue fighting until, because she said to me, you have a purpose in life. You need to fight. You need to fight to stay on this earth. That's number one. God. Pray to God, please give me a second chance. If you give me a second chance, I will do good for everybody. I promise you. And again, and I'm going to tell this to everybody who's fighting out there, you need to have a support system. You're not going to be able to fight this cancer on your own. That's number one. A lot of people think, well, I don't have family, I don't have friends, so I'm just going to give up. Now, if you have that mentality, the negative mentality, you're not going to get through cancer. You have to go in there with a positive mindset. You have to say to yourself, I am going to get through this. I am going to fight this. My life is worth something. I have value, or can add value to this world. If I hadn't had my mother or anybody in my family, I'll be honest with you, I probably would not have taken myself in to get treated. I would have just let it go. So that's why it's important for everybody out there who's battling it right now, fight like you've never fought before. One of my friends called me Wonder Woman because he said to me, you have such a determination to live on this earth, a determination to fight. You can't give up. You're going to go through all the symptoms. Get through it somehow. I went through it, and in my worst, darkest time in my life, between the ages of 35 and 36, my quality of life changed. I don't even remember being those two ages. I wish I could get them back, but I can't. I can't go back in time. What's done is done. So I went through all the chemotherapy. I had my mastectomy in between the chemo and the radiation. I had my mastectomy. If you ask me what it felt like to lose the breast that I had, because after I had my mastectomy, they took out all of my lymph nodes from my left arm. So from here all the way down, I'm still numb after all these years. So they took out my lymph nodes and everything that was in that breast. The tumor was completely gone. But the drug that they used for the tumor was only for colon cancer, and they used it for breast cancer. And guess what? The tumor completely disappeared. Completely. There was no sign of it. I was cancer-free. When I went back to the doctor for the initial diagnosis, he said, you know what? I'm going to have to say to you now that the spots in your lungs were not cancerous after all. You have a lung condition, but it's not fatal. So in all honesty, you just had breast cancer. No indication of anything that was in the lungs, because at the time they weren't sure. They did the x-rays, they found spots, but they said it's not cancer related. I was like, what a relief, because I thought I was going to die. They made it sound like, oh my God, you know, if you don't take care of this right away, you're going to die, basically. So your life was hanging in the balance, but I survived it. I am here, 16-year survivor, knock on wood. And I'm going to say to everybody out there, again, you're not alone. I know exactly how you're feeling. There are a lot of times people are giving up. They think that they can't get through it. You can. When you go in, and I'm going to tell this, there's three emotions. The first emotion is the initial diagnosis. You're going to either cry, shout, scream. For me, I did nothing. I was poker faced. I knew because I took myself in late. So I went in there with a poker face, like I didn't show any emotion. The second emotion is when you're physically going through the cancer. You're going to be tired. You're going to want to give up. But remember this, if you have family, friends, or even if you don't have anybody in your support system, volunteers, doctors and nurses, other cancer survivors can go in there with you to go through the process because you're not alone. You can get through this, but you have to fight. You cannot give up. If you say to me, I can't defeat cancer, that's like saying, I won't defeat cancer. See the correlation? I can't, I won't. So change that mindset. I can defeat cancer. I will defeat cancer. Make yourself positive. Get the negative out and just go with the positive. Say, I can fight this. I can because my life has value to me. My life has value to me. So that's what you say to yourself. But after, when everything was all done and I went back into the doctor, he says, you're cancer free. We saved your life, basically. If they had not used that drug, and if my insurance company didn't pay for it, I probably would still be fighting the cancer because the drug itself cost $10,000. And a lot of the insurance companies wouldn't take it for their patients. Mine did, because the insurance company valued my life, basically. So my life was spared. So now 3 emotions. The first is anger, sadness, crying, because everybody seems to think cancer is a death sentence. It's not. It can be treated. But if you go in there, so let's just put it this way, and not just for breast cancer, all cancer. I always say to people, if you see something in your body and it wasn't there before, do yourself a favor, don't procrastinate, take yourself into the doctor. It's a matter of life and death. Don't be like me. And I was brave enough in September, my LinkedIn contact put me on a video. I talked about my story and I showed my battle scar because I wanted people to see. If you wait too long, this is the results. I'm not doing it to scare anybody, but let's put this in perspective. If you don't get yourself treated right away, I'm sorry, you will have that cancer diagnosis. But if you go in there with the mentality of, my life isn't worth saving, or I don't think I can do this, well, guess what? You will have given up. The cancer will take over all your whole body and you will die, basically. So why would you want to do that? No, we want to be positive. That's why my mission in life is to help other people get through their diagnosis. Again, if you don't have a support system, hey, you can look to me as, quote, the person who's gone through it. I could tell you exactly what you're going to go through. And it doesn't matter. The first time I went with that diagnosis, you know what I said to myself? When I went to the chemotherapy room, I remember all the people around us had a different form of cancer, but we had one thing in common. We were there to save our lives, to fight like we've never fought before, to be the warriors that we were. Because think of cancer as a demon. Cancer is a demon. You know how I know? I lost my father to lung cancer. That's why he didn't have a chance. He died in the 20th century when there was no new medicine, no new technology. I survived it in the 21st century. Big difference in the decade. So my father never got a chance, but I did. And I sometimes think to myself, why? He never got that opportunity. I felt guilty for anybody who had cancer, any type of cancer. I felt they didn't have that second chance from God, but I did. And I beat myself up over it. And I thought, well, wait a minute. My friend said to me, yes, you feel bad for the people who lost their lives to cancer, but look at you. You're still alive and well. You're here to tell your story. You're here to make a difference. And that's what I want to do. That's why I'm talking to you and the people out there who are going through it, to tell them not to give up. Don't give up. You are worth everything in your life. You have value in this world. You have a purpose in life. And say to yourself, when I get through it, this is what I'm going to do. It's because we all have missions in life. Well, my mission is to help other people, to become a humanitarian, basically, to help everybody get through it. In other parts of the world, the people now I feel are suffering, especially women. They can't go to a doctor like I can up here, because the first time that they go into a doctor, the first thing that they tell them, well, we can't treat you because you got to pay us. Seriously? In other words, payment. In another part of the world, women in breast cancer right now, they can't go to a doctor to get themselves treated because there's a cost involved. It's too expensive. you have to go to another part of the world to receive that treatment. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't like that. That bothers me. So now women will not go to the doctor. They're at home treating their own breast cancer. How are you treating breast cancer if you're not underneath a doctor's care? You have to have a doctor's care and you have to have that treatment to save your life. If you don't, you'll die, basically. What I want to do is make it easier for everybody over there, every other part of the world. I will go with you to the doctor. I will hold your hand throughout the whole thing, and I will tell them, look, you need to treat this person and save their life. You don't put a price tag on someone's life, because the doctor takes a Hippocratic oath. I will cure this patient. I will treat him. I will save their life. But when there's a cost involved, that's when people down there, and like in one part of the world, I was told that before they can go in and get treated, the doctor will tell them, we need you to have, in other words, give us payment before we could treat you. And I think that's wrong. I think it's wrong. I don't know how it is over by you in your country, but in other parts of the world, that's what they do. They won't treat you until you have, quote, made a payment. When I went through my cancer, it's the furthest thing from my mind. They didn't say to me, well, now that we know that you have cancer, you have to make the payment. No, we're going to treat you. And then we talk about how much it's going to cost. Because again, you don't put a price tag on someone's life. You just don't do that. It's wrong.
Yeah. Someone's life is more precious than any money.
Exactly. And your life has value in this world. Everybody's life. We're God's children. God is looking out after us. So if you tell me I'm not going to treat you, well, then I will go somewhere else. But I've heard this from people. Well, I said that I was going to do that. And the same thing, you go from one hospital to another and they'll turn you away because you can't pay. Did you ever stop to think that people right now are struggling in this world after this pandemic? We came out of a pandemic. People lost their jobs. People are struggling to make ends meet. Why doesn't anybody understand that? Human compassion. Have compassion. Save that life. Forget about the cost. We'll find a way. And I haven't said this. I will go with the World Trade Organization. We will go to all these places and we will say, hey, look, we'll make it easier on you. We will go with you when you go in to get this treatment. We will talk about setting up some type of a payment plan, because not everybody can afford it. I mean, if I had to do this all over again now, I probably wouldn't. Because right now, I'm like the majority of the people. I'm struggling still. But you know what? Positive. I'm positive about it. Positive mentality. 100% positive in a negative world. Think of it that way. And when you're going through an illness, 100% positive. No negativity. Think positive. Say, I'm going to fight. I have every right to be on this earth just like everybody else. You can't go in there with a negative attitude. You just can't. And you cannot fight cancer by yourself. If you say to me, I'm going to do this by myself, I'm telling you right now, you're not. You're not going to take yourself to the doctor.
All the support groups are needed. Yeah, support groups are especially very important. Support, be it support of friends, family, or be it support of any online support group. Because because as you need courage and strength to fight back the disease. You can't inbuild, because cancer is a disease which ultimately instill a sense of negativity within you. But if you surround yourself with positive people, positive attitude, positive
and no
people,
negative, no negative people. I would say stay away from negative people. They're toxic because they don't want you to get better. Positive. But again, don't tell me you can fight this disease by yourself, because you're not going to. You'd be lying to me if you said that. I've yet to see someone say to me, I'm going to go in there and do this all by myself. I have yet to see that. If I see that, then I was wrong.
Hats off to that person then.
I know. I'm just saying, and the times that I went, every age group was affected. Again, cancer does not affect. A lot of people think cancer is old person's disease. No, everybody gets, even children. Children get cancer. Young adults, teenagers, adults, the elderly, everybody gets cancer. It doesn't matter what your age was. I was 35. I had no history of it on either my mother or father's. I'm trying to figure out how I got cancer. I just don't know how I got it.
You know, you told that you went through chemotherapy. So, like, what treatment exactly have you undergone? How many chemotherapy cycles have you undergone?
Oh, I said 6 months. 6 months of chemotherapy. I don't remember the drugs. If you ask me the drugs, I don't remember.
Mhm.
These drugs were very powerful. One drug, I will tell you, gave me severe bone pain. So in other words, you know how you take for granted, you know how you lean back when you're sitting, when you go to lean back? When I had the one drug that I had on me, for me to actually sit back like this, the pain was too much. It just went all over my body. It was temporary though, but I could not go through that. It was just too much. I said, I can't. I'll tell you the two things when people ask me, what do you remember about having cancer? Two things. Number one, I could not move around. I felt like an old person. That's number one. And number two, I couldn't enjoy eating food. And you imagine when you go to a holiday party or a get together with your family and you can't enjoy food. I couldn't taste or smell anything. When I went to the hospital and I had my kidney attack, they put me on a diet. I didn't like the hospital food, so my mother would sneak in soup and I couldn't eat it. You know what happened? I lost a lot of weight. I looked like a human skeleton. None of the family members or any of the friends that I had recognized me because she said, you look like a skeleton. You're so thin. I said, I couldn't eat anything. I tried. Everything that I ate didn't, well, first of all, it didn't stay in my stomach. It came right back up again. Sorry for being disgusting in this, but it's true. It's true. And the second thing is my quality of life changed. I could not see myself as a regular 35, 36-year-old. It took me 2 years to finally get back into society. When I got back into society, everything changed. The whole life changed. It's like I never existed in those two age periods. I wish I can get them back. So when someone says to me, don't you want to go back to being in your 30s? I said, yes. Because I don't remember. All I remember is the pain that I went through. And I thought I had lost my life and I didn't. Because again, my late mother and God gave me that second chance for life, or else I would have given up. And I wouldn't be talking to you today, or anybody for that matter. I would have just given up a long time ago. So here, Wonder Woman. So my friend said to me, you're Wonder Woman. And I said, I'm not a superhero. I'm a survivor of life, not just breast cancer, of life. Everything happened to me at my early age, from the time I lost my father to the age of 21 up until now. But I went in there with a positive attitude. There were many times I wanted to give up. I'll be honest with you. There are many times I wanted to take myself out of this world because I didn't think I made a difference. But one of my friends convinced me, and LinkedIn said, you have a purpose in life, and your purpose is to help other people get through an illness, but also get through all the challenges and everything that we're going through in this world right now. We're struggling right now. Even though we're coming out slowly to normal, we're still struggling. People are struggling as we're speaking. And I don't want to see anybody suffer. I'm sorry. I can't walk away from someone who's suffering. Can you honestly tell me, and I've asked this for people, can you honestly say to me, can you walk away from someone who is suffering at this moment right in front of you? No, you can't, because it would be inhumane if you did that. You know what the definition of a human being is? A true definition of human being in my book, giving back. Giving back is the true definition of a human being.
Yeah. Yeah. So did you make any lifestyle changes during or after the treatment?
After the treatment, they put me on a diet. I had to exercise. I had to eat certain foods because, especially with the lymph nodes, I was told after I got the tubes out, do not use this left arm for anything because you can get lymphedema, and lymphedema is painful. Your arm will swell up. You'll be back in the hospital. So I tried not to, but it's hard sometimes. They said to me, once you go through cancer, you have to change your lifestyle. You have to eat healthy. I'm not saying diet. You can eat food, but you have to limit the amount of food that you put in your body, but you also have to be active. You cannot go back to the lifestyle you had. But again, even if you're, quote, healthy, you're still going to get some type of cancer. I tell that to people. Everybody has cancer cells in their body. So you could be the healthiest person on the planet, you're still going to get sick because there's no way to prevent it. It's going to happen. But you have to go in there with positive mindset. That's all you have to do. Don't think of cancer as a death sentence. unless it's terminal. If it's terminal, I still think you have a chance at life, because I think doctors scare patients. They say, well, we think you're only going to live for about 6 months, 3 months, 2 months. No, I've seen people who have had terminal cancer live past a certain age, or past the death sentence that the doctors have given them. With me, it was either get rid of that tumor in your body, or you're going to lose your life. That's basically, they scared me. But you know what? I wasn't scared. I went in there and I fought, and look at me now. I'm still going strong. But you know what I regret doing? And I tell this to women. After your cancer diagnosis, keep getting mammograms. Mammograms will save your life. Keep doing that. Don't stop. Even men too. Men, the percentage of men, get your mammogram. Get your mammogram. It will make a difference, because sometimes you might miss the self-diagnosis. When they go in and you do that x-ray for the mammogram, they might find something. They may be able to save your life right then and there. Don't wait. Why wait? You're playing Russian roulette with your life. Your life is precious. That's how I think of it. Your life is precious. So do yourself a favor. Go get something checked. Even if you think it's nothing, have peace of mind. Go get yourself checked. And if you can't do it for yourself, do it for the people in your life, the people that matter to you.
Yes, definitely. And what all things helped you in your recovery?
Again, my family got me through it. I think that if I would have done this by myself, I will be honest with you, I wouldn't. I don't like doctors. I don't like hospitals. I don't like being in the hospital. Family is important. You need a support system. And even, again, some people don't have family. So friends, if you don't have friends, volunteers, other cancer survivors. I always said that I would always volunteer at a hospital and help somebody get through it, because with the mentality of, I can't do this, it's like saying you're giving up on your life. Your life doesn't mean anything to you, so you're not going to save yourself. You have to go in there positive. Don't be scared. I know a lot of people think the first time they hear a cancer diagnosis, I'm going to die. No. If I had felt that way 16 years ago, if I felt that I was going to die, I would have not gone through any of my treatments. I would have just given up. But my mother forced me. My mother forced me to stay on this earth. But she said to me, if something happens to you and you give up, I don't want to live. That's what my mother said. My mother didn't want to live without me because I was her youngest. Okay. So she had an attachment to me. She said to me, you need to fight like you've never fought before, but you also need to have that positive. It's all about positive mindset. Make yourself say, I have value in this earth. I have a purpose in life. I have family I don't want to leave behind. And I think of it this way. What happens if you say, I'm going to give up? Think about what you could be doing in the future. Think about your life 10 years, 20 years from now. I could become a success. I could become married. I can have kids. I can open up my own business. I can inspire other people. But if you say to me, yeah, you know what? Because I don't have anybody in my life, I'm just going to give up. Well, then you know what? Cancer is going to be very difficult for you. You're not going to get through anything. You're not going to go through chemo. You're not going to go through radiation. You're not going to go through anything. You're just going to die. Cancer will take over. And guess what? You're dead and you can't go back. Once you go to the sign of darkness, you can't come back to me and say, I changed my mind. I want to live. No, you made the decision to die. You're going to die. That's it. You can't go back.
So, every crisis in life teaches you a particular lesson. So what life lessons has this cancer journey taught you?
Not to take my life for granted. That life is precious. The people in my life matter to me. I thank my late mother, because if she hadn't been there to help me through it, again, I wouldn't be here. That's basically what it is. Your life is precious. Think of it in those terms. We only have one life to live, so we got to make the best of it. When we have a cancer diagnosis, okay, we are scared. I get it. And everyone thinks you're going to die. You're not. It can be treated. Cancer can be treated, but you need to go in there with the positive attitude, but you also need to have a support system, a family member, a friend. It could be anybody in your family, or it can even be, again, a volunteer. When I went there there were volunteers on site that said, we will help you through it. We will be there to answer your questions. We will guide you. You're not alone in this. Do you know how many people have said that to me? The doctors and nurses, they were my cheering section. They got me through the worst. But yeah, so the life lessons I've learned is life is precious. That's number one. Number two, again, you have to be positive. You can't go in there with the whole attitude of saying, I can't do this. My life is worth something to me. I have value as a human being. My life is precious. Number three, there's no price tag. We do not put a price tag on a person's life. We don't do that ever. If you do, because everything you think, everything has a cost attached to it. Not a person's life. Another thing I want to make clear, again, when I lost my breast, again, this is my battle scar, okay? Any type of cancer, you're going to lose a body part. Any type of cancer. I always say this to people, and I'm hoping that you pass this on to your patients. You are 100% human with or without a body part. When I recovered from this and I was living with someone at the time, he had said to me, well, you're half of a woman. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, you only have one breast. I said, no. You're defining women by breasts? No. I'm a complete woman with or without a body part. So you're 100% of a human being, because body parts don't make up humans. Humans make up humans. Humans make up humans, not body parts. I've gone through my life and I've seen people, no arms, no legs, no hands. I still see you as 100%. I don't see you as without a body part. You think of it that way. With my breast, do I miss it? No. But I will tell you this. Somebody said to me, what would have happened? Would you have gotten a breast implant right away? Because a lot of women don't want to see a hole in their breast, right? I didn't, because if I had gotten breast implants and I went out there to tell my story, people would be like, how did we know you had breast cancer? I wouldn't be able to prove it. I know I had it, but I wouldn't be able to prove it. So I kept the scar. I kept it with me for so many years. This is my identifying characteristic. So when someone says to me, who is Aphrodite? Well, Aphrodite is a 16-year breast cancer survivor, and she went out and told her story on air, and she showed her battle scar because she wasn't ashamed. Why should I be ashamed? I went through an illness that could have killed me, and I'm here to talk about it. This is my purple medal. Would I do it again? If you asked me, would you go out on a live platform and do it? I said, yeah, sure. Why not? I'm not ashamed. Why should you be ashamed? But again, when you tell your patients whatever cancer they're going through and they don't have that body part, you're still 100% of a human being. Don't let someone make you feel like you're not. Those are the negative people. Stay away from negative. Get that negative mindset out. Surround yourself with positive people, or people like myself, survivors, who will tell you. Trust me, because again, I know now many people right now at this moment are suffering. Even the ones that have like the terminal cancer, there is light at the end of the rainbow. There's light, but you have to go there with positivity. You have to go there, because if you don't, again, you will not get through it. Your life has value. You have value. Think of it that way. I am worth something. I'm not talking about monetary. I'm talking about, as a human being, our life is precious. Again, one life to live. That's what you have to think about it. One life to live. So it's on you. Whatever decision you make also affects your family members. Think of it that way. So if I would have given up, my family would have been like, well, now we have to prepare for her funeral, because she doesn't want to fight for her life. But I chose not to. I thought of what my mother said to me. My mother said to me, your life is precious. Again, you can make a difference. You can inspire people. You need to stay on this earth. You need to help others who are going through it. She was like a Mother Teresa, my mother. That was what she was. She's an angel now, so she knows what I'm going through right now. She says, you're doing good. You're helping other people. So that's my mission in life, is to help other people go through this, basically. Positive. That's all I have to say, is positive mindset, and you can get through it.
So like, what was your first reaction when your reports were finally showing that you are cancer free?
I was doing a dance. I was like, I'm alive, I'm well. I was happy. But I also couldn't believe I had it, because even before, my emotions were all over the place. Yes, I was happy I survived cancer, but I tried to put the cancer behind me. I didn't want people to know I had it. Nobody around where I lived didn't know what happened to me. They saw the change. They saw, okay, she has no hair. She's bald. she looks really thin and sickly. They finally figured out, and they said to me, yes, you made it. You're here, you're alive, you're well. And again, I thank my mother, and God for giving me a second chance. I was afraid. You know what? Somebody said to me, are you afraid of death? I said, no. You know why? Because my father went through cancer. I saw him suffer. But he died peacefully, though. He went through it. He died at the age of 63. Now, to me, that's pretty young, lung cancer. But I looked at him, and then I'll tell you another emotion that I had: denial, regret for living, because he never got that chance. And I felt guilty. And my mother said, why? Why do you feel guilty? Your father, if he was alive and he saw me go through this cancer, I think he wouldn't be able to take it. I think he would just fall apart, basically. He would fall apart if he saw me go through this cancer. I don't know if he would, I don't know how it would do for him health-wise. I don't know how he would handle it, be honest with you.
Yeah. Do you still go for prescribed checkups after your reports are cancer-free?
No, I don't. And I should. It's been a long time. But I do a self-breast examination every month on my right breast. And so far, nothing. I have not found anything. I also, now, and there's a quick thing for women. I'm going to address this to women with breast cancer. When I was going through it, a lot of women, even though there was nothing in the right breast, a lot of them had the double mastectomy. And I thought to myself, maybe I should do that too, to reduce the risk of getting cancer again. But then I thought, I really don't want to do that. I mean, because again, when I did the examination, I checked both, but I only found it on the one. And I thought, I don't want to go through that whole, even though it reduces your chances of getting breast cancer again. You can get it again. Luckily, I haven't gotten it so far, knock on wood. But a lot of the women, when I went through it, had a double mastectomy because they wanted to reduce that chance. And I thought, I don't know if I really want to do that. I don't want to lose the other breast. It's kind of like, if there was no need for it. Now, if there was a need for it, if my doctor said to me, well, I think you should, they never gave me that option though. They would have said, I think you should, just to reduce your risk of getting breast cancer again, but I don't think you're going to get it again. I probably would have. But I didn't want to do it at the time. I thought, well, I have a healthy breast. I have a diseased breast. I mean, I wanted to keep what I had, because I don't know if I can bear the thought of having both of them gone. I would get used to it, but I just don't like that idea. But I would advise women, go get your mammograms every year. Or I don't even know now what the how many years it is. I don't even know what the ages are. I think every age. They said you should get it from a certain time to a certain time. I think it should be all ages, because even young girls can have a sign of cancer in their breast. Yeah. They should do their self-examination. So go get yourself checked. Get a mammogram. Go back for a checkup. Do what you have to do to ensure yourself that you're okay. But again, don't take that mentality of, well, if I find something, but I really don't think it's anything, I'm not going to go in right away. No, go in right away. Because I think if I would have had to do it all over again, I would have done it differently. I would have taken myself in right away. If I would have taken myself in, I wouldn't have had cancer. It would have just been like a cyst, a benign cyst that they could have easily removed. I can't go back. What's done is done.
Yeah. So what message you would like to give to other caregivers and cancer survivors?
To never give up. Don't give up. It's, think of it this way. Your life is precious. Your life is precious. And you have every right to be here on this earth with everybody else. But again, don't give up the fight. Fight like a warrior. Pretend you're in the army and cancer is the enemy. Think of it that way. When I say to people, cancer is a demon, and it is. If you give in to cancer, it will take over your body and you will die. That's basically what it is. But if your life means something to you, then go in there and fight and go through the chemo. You're going to go through pain. Cancer is a painful disease. I'm going to admit it to you. I went through every symptom I had from every of the drugs I had. I went through it. But again, I would not wish any of the side effects on my worst enemy. Get in there with a positive mentality. That's what you need to do. Don't give up. And again, hope. Hope is the key word, hope. Survivor. I'm a survivor. You can be a survivor. You have to have that mentality of, I can do this. I can defeat cancer. That's all I'm going to say on that. Because again, if I hadn't done it, we wouldn't be having this conversation. I would have given up a long time ago.
So what is that one act of kindness that you will never forget?
The one act of kindness. Well, you're asking me from 16 years ago, because that was such a long time ago. I remember my family celebrated. I had an actual celebration after I got out of the hospital. And the doctors, the nurses, the oncologists, they said to me, I was a walking miracle for surviving cancer. I made it. But again, I felt guilty because some of the people that I was associated with lost their life. And I felt, I don't want this. I don't want any type of special honor. I went through there again with a positive mentality, but they gave up. And I thought, why? You could have sat there. You could have actually fought. You could have fought, but they didn't. They didn't have anybody. And I felt bad. I'm like, well, look to me as your guardian angel. Look to me as your angel. I will lead you out of the darkness and into the light. That's what I say to people. I will lead you out of the darkness into the light, because there's always that, light at the end of the tunnel. So, and everyone says to me, you're an angel. I said, no, I'm just a survivor, a breast cancer survivor, but I'm also a survivor of life. Life, you know what life did to me when I had cancer? It changed everything that I saw. I saw people differently. And I will admit this to you. Before I was diagnosed, I wouldn't talk to anybody. I was really shy. After I had cancer, and I'm not going to say thank you to the disease, but I looked at people in a different light. I looked at life differently after I had cancer. Your quality of life changes after you've gone through a disease like that. You weren't the same as you were before. Like, as I said to me before, because everybody in my family was sick, I said, I'm never going to be in the hospital. I'm always going to be 100% well. Don't have that mentality. Don't. You can get sick, but you also can get through it if you think positive.
Yeah.
But yes, people were saying congratulations for being a survivor. Yeah, I thank the doctors and nurses for saving my life and never giving up on me, because if they had, I don't know if I would have continued. They persevered and pushed and got me to where I am today. That's why I want to make a difference around the world. And I also want to visit all the cancer patients around the world to see, because some of them are just, right, again, if you don't have anybody, they just have that mentality of, I just might as well give up. I'm like, no, I'll hold your hand through it. I will help you through it. We will do this together. We will do this together as a team. Me and all my friends who are survivors of every cancer, we will be there for you 100%. You are not alone. You're not alone. So don't give up. Be positive.
So what do you think are the stigmas attached to cancer and the importance of awareness for it?
What do you mean by stigmas? Can you
stigma
elaborate?
Stigma often people say that you are cancer. So people often consider it as a death sentence, like you have said earlier. So these are stigmas. Often, since women who have breast cancer in many cities, in many countries, it is considered as a taboo. So these are stigmas. So what is your opinion on the same?
I don't see cancer as taboo. But I also don't see cancer, again, is not a death sentence. I don't know why people think it is. Everyone thinks the word cancer means that the quality of your life is over. I will tell you, though, from the experience with my father, when he had lung cancer, because his cancer had spread. And I always thought that if they would have treated him earlier, if they would have gotten the cancer, he would have been alive. You know who I blame? I don't blame him for dying, and I don't blame the disease. I blame the doctors. You know what the doctors do? They sugarcoat. When they tell you, and they'll talk to you in big words, like you cannot understand. When I went in my diagnosis, I said, what do I have? You have advanced metastatic. Well, what does that mean? Tell me exactly what I have in clear English. you have breast cancer that we think goes into your lungs. That's basically what, but they kept talking to me in doctor speak. Don't scare a patient like that. Tell them in clear English what they have, what are their chances, are they going to survive? Because people right away, cancer, death. That's a stigma right there. Cancer, death. We will not say that. We will say cancer, life. Cancer, life. Let's do that. Cancer, life. Even if you have terminal cancer, terminal cancer, and I had a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, she passed away from kidney cancer at the age of 30. She went out on social media. She told her life story to everybody. I had paid tribute to her on a podcast. I said, look at her. She's a brave young woman. She went out there on social media, was not ashamed to tell her story of how she has kidney cancer. She had kidney cancer and it was terminal. But I found out, because I wanted to do a live interview with her to compare our stories, she had passed away at the age of 30 from terminal kidney cancer. And I thought, wow. But then again, I thought to myself, again, cancer is not a death sentence. Don't think of it as when someone says to you, you have cancer, my first reaction was, I had no reaction. But when they said to me at the time, they said, well, we think the cancer might have spread to your lungs. That's when I thought it was a death sentence, because you think, well, lung cancer, my father passed away from it. I don't think I have a chance. But you know what? It's not. So when you go in there, say to yourself, whatever cancer it might be, I'm going to get through it. I'm going to take back my life. Cancer will not take my life, will not take me out of this planet. I will take back my life, because my life is worth something. I am worth something. And I'm not talking monetary. I am worth something in this world. Tell people that cancer is not a death sentence. That's actually a myth right there. You know what? Also, the myth is that cancer only affects, quote, the older crowd. No, cancer affects everybody. You can get cancer anytime in your life. You can be the healthiest person on the world and still get sick. Everyone thinks, I'm immune, I'm not going to get any type of illness. Don't have that mentality. I used to think before I turned 35, I was never going to get sick. Guess what? I got sick. And there was no history of it on the other side of the family, but I'm trying to figure out, where did I get it? We all have cancer cells in our body. That's a given. And you can say to yourself, I will never get sick. I will make myself well. I will eat healthy. I will diet and exercise. You're going to get sick. Whether or not, you're healthy, you're going to get sick. But when you go into the doctor and they tell you you have cancer, don't automatically assume it's a death sentence. It's not. It can be treated. But you have to go in there don't go in there with tears and go, oh my God, I'm going to die. Because you're going to put fear. You know what I say to people? Don't put fear. You know what fear is? Fear is not an emotion. Fear is a state of mind. You make yourself afraid. So you make yourself believe, I have cancer now, I'm going to die. No, I have cancer, I'm going to live. Think of it that way. Cancer, life. Life and death. Where are you going to go? Are you going to go through life, or are you going to go to death? Well, the obvious choice is life. But a lot of people think, and in other parts of the world, think, well, having cancer is taboo. No, not here in America. People have cancer, and you know what they do? And I've actually been to hospitals and seen people have given up when they get that cancer diagnosis, like even before they start treatment. I said, why? You have a chance at life. Go for it. Fight like a warrior. That's all you have to do. Fight like you've never fought before. Make yourself say to yourself, my life has value. I am worth something in this world. I have a purpose in life. That's what you say. You don't give up. Like I said, let people know cancer is not taboo. That's a myth right there. Cancer, and they say cancer is old person's disease. That's also a myth. Everybody gets cancer. Children get cancer. They get leukemia, right? Everybody gets cancer, but it's not a death sentence. It can be treated, right?
So, yeah. So if you have to sum up your journey in one sentence, then what would that be?
Humble survivor.
Yeah.
Humble because of my background, because of the fact that I think of it this way. If I hadn't gotten the treatment, if I hadn't gotten any of that, again, I would be dead. I would think of it as my life has meaning. all right, and I am worth something to somebody. Or no, I'm sorry, I'm not going to say worth. I have value in this world. I have a mission and purpose. Everybody belongs in this world. Because you know how many people are dying as we speak? A lot of people right now are dying and they're not even under a doctor's care because of the cost of medical care. That has to be addressed. I'm sorry to say, in other parts of the world, I've heard from a friend of mine, and actually somebody had said to me, I try to go in there for a checkup with the doctor because I thought I had a cancer diagnosis. But when I went into the hospital, the doctor said, we can't do the surgery here. You got to go to another country. I'm like, what? So by the time I go to another country to get the surgery, what happens if in between that time, patient dies? Whose fault is that? The doctor's fault. And I blame the doctor. That's who I blame, the doctor. You took a Hippocratic oath to take care of a patient and you let him go to another country to have an operation, which you could have easily done it in his own native land. He died in the process. If it were me, I would really let them have it. I'm sorry to say it. That is unforgivable. That's unforgivable because we don't do that here in America. In America, they treat you here. Whether or not you can afford it, they will treat you. Your life is more important than money. Why does everybody think money is important? On an illness, you think, I'm afraid if I go to the doctor to get this cancer treatment, I won't be able to pay for it. No, we don't think about that at all. Your life is important. We don't put price tag on a person's life. So in one word, survivor. That's all I'm going to tell you. I am a survivor. You can be a survivor too. You can be a survivor.
Yeah, your story is really inspiring, and I hope this session really motivates people out there who have traveled or been traveling through this journey. So it was lovely having you here today on this session with us, Aphrodite. So thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for your valuable time.
Thank you.